Hello everyone, it's Karina. Welcome to Life of a Mermaid. So here I am again, laying down. Actually, I see my foot, right now. It's been a little swollen, but it was weird. I was talking to my mom. It's swollen, but on the left side. So the surgery is on the right side, like right by my ankle. Um, so I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's normal. If it continues, I'm definitely gonna hit up my doctor and just send him a picture of what it looks like and then just take it from there. But my next appointment is on December 27th, so you know, still have some time to go, but I will be seeing him in a couple of weeks. But if it continues by the end of the week, because it doesn't necessarily hurt, it's just swollen. But I'm gonna send him an email if it continues. I'll give it a couple more days. Continue elevating and continue icing it, and that doesn't work, then shoot him an email and see what he says. Take it from there. But yeah, so I know I had said that I was gonna there's a lot that has been going on, a lot that I wanted to talk about with you guys. So, here we are. So I'll talk about Leaders in Transformation, LIT for short, and it's a journey that I took on, started in August, and I'll kind of just share my journey, my experiences, and what I've gotten out of it, and what's next for me and stuff like that. And as you can see, I'm wearing my t-shirt for my tribe. Um, So basically, again, the name kind of says it all. Leaders in Transformation. So it's a training where basically it shows you, it is a transformation training, so it is about transforming your life and transforming yourself and becoming the person that, not so much that you always wanted to be, but for me personally, I believe it's the person that you are, but that you, because of life, because of all the bullshit and everything, all the walls that we put up, all the shields that we put on ourselves to keep try to keep ourselves safe, or thinking that we're keeping ourselves safe. We're actually really pushing away and shutting ourselves down, not just from the world and from people, but also from our own power. From being the person that we could be, from being, who we were meant to be, who we are meant to be, but we're so afraid, that we don't see that. So for me, really, that's kind of the biggest thing that I got out of it. And it's not that I've changed, it's just that I was able to see, I was able to see myself in the eyes of others. I was able to see my power and, my greatness, that it's always been in there, and it's always been part of me, and it's always been me. But again, I let, all the bullshit of everyone else. So thoughts of thinking that I'm not good enough because I don't look a certain way, because I don't, have certain degrees, or, whatever it may be. But I let all of that affect me, and I dimmed my own light. And during the training, I was able to see, step by step, every weekend, every day, every second, I was taking off one stone, off from the walls, and one, take off either my whole shield or pieces of the shield, and slowly letting, people in and letting things out. So that's really the biggest things that I think I've learned, or the way I see it. So again, with transformation, it's not so much that you're changing as it is that you're just evolving and expanding and becoming the person that you've always been, but have been so scared to be, or to allow them to be. Um, so yeah. So that's what I see it. And again, it is called Leaders in Transformation, because at that point, they uh, they see that, and they know that we all have greatness. But we are covering it. So it is called Leaders in Transformation, because again, you are a leader, and then again, you're, through the program, you're kind of transforming, and more than anything, I think, yeah, you're transforming, but I think you're just being woke. They're waking you up, and you're realizing and seeing things, that are there. So yeah, so again, I started the training in August. I think I've shared a little bit about it, of how it all came about. My sister Jessica was actually taking it, and I've seen a huge shift in her, and I've seen just a difference in her. She looked happy, and it's something that you know, I did see a sad soul in her for some time, and I know she was just struggling with a lot and juggling a lot, and again, we're sisters, so I know we have similar personalities and stuff like that, and I could see that in her, and when she started taking this training, I saw her light, and not just that. I mean, I could always see it, but I could see that she was dimming it. Maybe it didn't make sense in that context at the moment for me, but I could see that she was holding back, and um, again, that she just had a lot going on, and when she started taking this training, I saw the shift in her. I saw her light, and not only did I see her light, but I could see that she could see her light. That she was believing in herself, and she let the fears go, and she just started facing shit face on, and um, she stepped down from her job and, became part time to pursue, full time with school, and she started volunteering, for something for her field. So I just saw the shift in her. She started reaching out. We were talking. I mean, again, the conversations that we were having, it was, deep, legit conversations about life and ourselves and things like that, and something that, we never necessarily had, or we hadn't had in a while. So that was nice, So again, and she shared her experiences, her realizations, and a bit about her journey. And then she started bringing it up how she thought it would really help me, and it would be an amazing journey for me. And she's like, you're in the mental health field, you're in, you want to be a social worker, you're in the field of people, and she's like, I know you can gain a lot of tools through this to help your clients. She's like, yeah, like you'll also help yourself, but she's like, it's tools that you can also learn and apply to your clients and apply to the work that you do. And I just think you would be amazing in this. And I was like, well, yeah, like, I mean, again, seeing the change in her, seeing all that in her is kind of like, yeah, like I want some of that, but, again, the conversations were coming up for me, and it was like not so much time, because I mean, I have vacation and things like that, and my work is pretty flexible, and my supervisor's amazing. My biggest thing was the money. I was like, I don't have the money for that. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I am interested, but I was like, right now I'm kind of working on paying off some bills. Like, give me, maybe next year. And she was kind of like, oh, like, the time is now, like the moment is now, like I really think it would help you, and like this and that. So she kept trying, she kept going. She didn't give up, on her vision and her goal of me being taking the training, and so she would call me here and there and kind of bring it up, and then finally one night she calls me and she tells me, hey, like, again, to start talking about training, I really think it would help you. Like, what do you think? And again, I'm telling her, like, yeah, it's just the money. Like, I don't know. And then she's like, oh, well, the next one's coming up. I think it was like 2 weeks or a couple weeks from when she called me. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, like, she's like, I'll put down a deposit for you. It's $100 deposit, and then you cover the rest. She's like, would you be able to get it in the next couple of weeks? And I'm like, yeah, I should be able to, like, I get paid this day, that day. I can figure it out, and then I'll just kind of budget, the rest of, my bills and everything else. So again, like when she said, like, I'll give the money for you, yeah, like, I mean, I did, not gonna lie, and I've told her this, as I did feel a bit of a pressure, but then again, on the other side of it all, it was like, okay, if someone's willing to pay, $100 and put down the deposit for you, like, it showed me, like, how much she believed in the program, and not just that, but that how much she believed in me, and how far she would go to fight for me, to have that opportunity. So at that point, I took it as a gift. And it's like, who am I to say no to a gift? Like, who am I to reject the gift? And we think about, like, start thinking about, like, when I've give someone a gift, and, I mean, yeah, there's sometimes certain situations that, like, oh, no, I can't take it. No matter what the gift is, no matter how small or how big. Let's say you buy a fucking shake, and then you buy someone for someone, and then they're like, no, like it does hurt, and it's because again you're thinking of them, and something that you think would make them smile, or something that they need, or something that they want, and so again, that's the way I took it. I took it as a gift. So it's like, again, who am I to say no? So I said yes. Again, as the date started getting closer, like I was getting more and more nervous, and she kept telling me, like, just be open minded, be open hearted, just go in there. And again, I don't want to give you much because I don't want to ruin your experience, once, you guys decide to take it, or, whatever. But yeah, like I remember going, and, something that I like reflected on, and I was like, going in, again, I was taking it as a gift, but it's kind of like, oh, and my focus at that point, again, it was more on learning tools for my clients. Yeah, like I knew that I would obviously learn something, and that I would get something out of it, but my biggest thing was, yeah, I'm here to, expand, and, more as a professional, and um get more information and tools on, how to work and help with my clients. That was my mentality going in, and not realizing like how much stuff I still had going on, how much unresolved things I had, with my parents, with myself, realizing how my relationship with Sal, my relationships with friends, family, wasn't, what I wanted, always been wanting, or it wasn't, it just wasn't there, and so those are a lot of things that just kind of hit me. I remember, in basic, it's called basic because it's more you're learning you're learning the language, you're learning some of the tools, but it's really just a foundation, an introduction to what transformation is. Um, yeah, and I remember, like, just kind of everything hitting me, and I think it was that weekend, we did an exercise. I can't remember if it was that weekend or the next, but I can't remember what weekend it was. But anyways, we did an exercise where, and it, I know, I think it was the second weekend. Um, but yeah, no, but that's just when I realized that, that like I wasn't okay, and again, how much I have been holding back of myself and others, and, how much I still struggled with accepting myself and loving myself unconditionally. And again, the relationships with my parents, my husband, and, Sal, and just all of that. I remember just when we were reflecting, like thinking, like, I thought I was okay. I thought my life was great, and, going in there, not that it wasn't great, but I just realized, how much I wasn't okay, like the way I said I was, and, how much certain things I wish were different, and just that I wasn't living the life that I always dreamed of, that I knew there was more, that I wanted more. So yeah, that was like a huge realization for me. And um I knew that I wanted more. I knew that I wanted to see what was next. And so the next training was advanced. Um and that one, again, that one is really more of like the breakthroughs. That's when, yeah, like you realize that there's things going on, that things that you want to change, and but it's kind of like when you're able to kind of go past it and break through it and say like, okay, yeah, this is who I am, but I don't have to stay there, and this is what I'm gonna do, and this is, where I'm going. And that's where I realized, that was actually one of the biggest weekends for me, because I realized that, that I do want kids. That's something that, up until now, or up until that point, I kept saying, like, no, no, I don't want kids. Or, I don't know. I was kind of in the middle. And doing this, I realized, like, fuck, I do want kids. I do want to be a mom one day. And, and I realized what was holding me back. It was the fear that I wouldn't be able to protect them. The fear that I wouldn't be a good mom. um, the fear that I'm not good enough, the fear that, I know my mom has given, so much for us, and just, kept comparing myself, to her in that sense, and the type of mother that she was, and it was the fear that I wouldn't be good enough, that I wouldn't live up to her standards or live up to, the type of mom that she was. But then, so it was really just, it was fear. And I mean, also the fear of what it would do, to my relationship with Sal and our relationship. And it's like, but that's something that we get to figure out together, that's kind of the fun part of all of it. And, that we are a team, and, again, that's just continuing to play team, continuing to play as a couple, and be there for this kid or these kids, whatever it may be, and just supporting each other and supporting our children. um so yeah, but yeah, that was when I realized that. And again, um I realized how I showed up to people, or how people saw me, and that was hard to hear, but it wasn't so much because of what they were saying, but I think it was more because I agreed with them, that again, a lot of it was that I was holding back, that, I could be somewhat of a pushover at times, that, I kind of just give in to others, and the biggest thing I think is just, again, not stepping into my power, not speaking up, and not saying what I want, and being clear about it. And yeah, it's true. That's something that, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, up until now, like, something that I still kind of struggle with, and some days are better than others, some moments are better than others. But I mean, compared to where I was, and I now have the awareness, and I can realize this, and I can and I am moving forward and pushing forward, and challenging that. But yeah, like, it was, sorry, it was, that was another, it was huge, because at that point, like, just hearing all of that stuff, and again, it wasn't so much that they were saying it to me, that they were pointing it out. It was the fact that I agree with it. That, for me, at least for me personally, that's what was killing me. That I agreed, that I saw that I felt that way. And it's like, I don't want that. I don't want to, see myself that way, or show up to the world in that way. And that's when it was one of the biggest shifts for me, of like, fuck that. Like, I'm not that person. Um, I realized how much I've always struggled with suicide and suicidal thoughts, and how I always wanted to die. And how I always thought that just not being alive, or not being, here, would make life better. And, I realized that it wouldn't. I realized, how much people would be hurting. And I realized how many people would be hurting if I died. Um, that was huge, because I never really stopped to think about that. Every time I was sad, every time I was, just in my fucking pit, um, all I could see was the darkness, all I could see was the pain, and all I could think about was just wanting to end that pain, Like, I mean, deep down, yeah, I knew that I had Sal or my family and stuff like that, but it just, I couldn't really, like, really catch that concept of they're here, Um, but that weekend I realized they are there, and I realized that maybe they weren't aware that I was in pain, because I wasn't letting them in. And I realized just how much I wanted to live, and I realized how much I have, to look forward to and to live. And that's, I took ownership of my own life, and, you know, um, did an exercise. And for me, what I saw was, yeah, I was the captain of my own ship, and I was taking ownership and responsibility for my life, but I had so many people around me, so many people were there with me. Um, you know, I had my parents, my sisters, Sal, just different family members, friends, and that's, it hit me that I've always been so used to doing things on my own and pushing people away. And, like again, that moment I realized just how I wasn't alone and how much support I had, and that, you've been trying to do it on your own for so long. Why not let people in? Why not let people help you? And again, I just realized, so that was again one of the biggest things too that I saw or that came up for me. And again, I gained some of my confidence back that weekend. I got my contract, and that's basically kind of what I was working on, or what I would be working on and kind of tapping into, for the next 90 days of the program. And that was, that I am a confident, caring, loving leader. And that's, kind of what stood out for me that weekend, and what I was, striving to be, and going to work on, and tapping into being that person, being that leader, being that woman. Um, so I think those were some of the biggest things for me that stood out that weekend. And then the next part of the training is legacy, which it's technically 90 days. And you basically learn a different tool. It's a total of, yeah, it's 90 days, but you meet 4 times. And it's monthly at that point. It's a total of oh my god, sorry. Keep getting messages. It's a total of 4 meetings, 90 it's 90 days. And again, you get each month, each weekend that you meet, you have a different topic, and you kind of go into different things. But anyways, the first weekend, I just realized like how much we're capable of doing, and how much you can create from nothing. And that it's all about you, and it's all about how you show up. And you know and again, I started realizing that all these people were strangers. And I started seeing them as family, seeing the connection, seeing how much alike we actually are, and how much we love each other and support each other, and would do anything. um can remember a lot more specific things, or like breakthroughs that I had. Um, but again, at this point, you're basically taking yourself on. You're setting up goals for yourself for the next 90 days, and you break it down into weekly, daily, and each day you're working towards each goal and doing something to kind of create that in your goals, and just kind of setting you up for success. I know in those the first 30 days, again, we work in a small group. We had a senior, and I think the biggest thing that I started, the biggest shift or change at that point was, I think for my body, and for, just like physical in general. I started working out. I joined the gym, started going to the gym. I think in the beginning, I can't remember. I think I started, it might have been like the first week I was just going like after work and stuff with Sal, and then I decided to start doing mornings, and that's kind of when my routine started of hitting the gym every morning. I was going in the beginning. I was going to the gym twice a day. I would go in the morning, and then at night with Sal. I did get connected with Drew. That's when I started, seeing a personal trainer, and then I started meeting with him. It was a little bit more down the line of the month, but we started meeting, once a week, twice a week actually. We started with once, and then as we continue, we were meeting twice a week. But yeah, I started doing that again. I had a huge breakthrough actually. Realizing again the not being good enough, not people not caring, not mattering to others, and or having the belief or thought that I didn't matter. Um, I had a huge breakthrough with that. I started recording my videos for in the workouts. Again, really just kind of digging more into finding my confidence and being comfortable with myself and my body, and sharing that with the world in a sense. um yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing that comes up for me. um the next weekend was intimacy. So I realized at that point, um again, I realized just that I was still kind of holding back about my dad, and mainly my dad. Not a lot of people know or knew at that point that he was in prison. When I started doing my YouTube videos, I started sharing about him, and I shared about him, and continue to do so. But I really went more into a little bit more into the story, and where he's at, and what happened and stuff like that, and of kind of why I wasn't sharing, or what was holding me back from sharing, and that I still felt some shame there, and that that I was kind of worried about like my sisters, and because they hadn't necessarily shared with many people either, and so that's, and I shared about my dad, and I shared about the tattoo that I have. No, it's over here for him. I don't know if I shared this with you guys or not before, but um so it's a Donald Duck and an anchor, and then it says Daddy's Little Duck. So he would call me Donald Duck. Growing up, I was a bit of a brat, and I would kind of throw, not full on tantrum. Oh, excuse me, not throw full on tantrums. Excuse me. Um. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Not throwing full on tantrums, but I would get like pouty, and I would get upset and be like, So he started calling me, mi Pato Donut, with me, my Donald Duck. Um, so with my wedding, with him not being there and stuff like that, I got that tattoo because that was my way of symbolizing that my dad was there for me and was at my wedding. Um, so yeah, so I was able to share about my tattoo, and share about my dad, and just share about our relationship and how much it meant to me. And again, something that I hadn't done. I hadn't shared much about my dad, or um, our relationship and stuff like that, and so that was huge for me. I'm just seeing that, and again, really focusing on being vulnerable and being open, and letting others into my life. Um, can again, and through all of this, I can't remember specific if it was like 30, 60 days, whatever, into it. But just realizing, like, just letting people into my life and sharing myself with others, and you know doing all of that, like, that was another thing that I realized, just how guarded I had been, and something that I was that I worked on, and I was able to kind of let go. um and then third weekend was actually a bit crazy. That's when I got injured, but again, and it's been a hell of a journey from there. But that I realized how strong I am, actually, mentally and physically. I realized that people are there for me, but again, since I'm so focused on how I want them to show up, or how it should look, that I don't see it for that they are showing up the way that they know how, that they're giving me love and care the way they know how to, but because it doesn't meet my expectations, or that's not the way I would show it, that in to me it was like, oh well, it's not it. They don't care. And but I realized that people do care. I've just been so caught up in my own shit, and of how I should look like, that I was dismissing it. um so that was like a huge realization and breakthrough. And I realized too, well, it was huge. um oh, and a little back, and then we'll go into it. Second week into, I found my inner child. I found Karinita. I think I've shared about her a little bit before. But I realized that she held the confidence, she held, the fun and the just not giving a fuck. But again, I let the world shut her down. I let the world, bring me down and just kind of, leave her out. And, yeah, so I was able to get her back second weekend. And, having her back in my life was crazy. I was, being fun and you know, being fun and just kind of, that's when I kind of got the confidence back, tapping into her and being myself no matter what, not caring what others were going to think. Because, if they're, someone that truly cares, they're going to accept me for me and love me for me no matter what or how crazy that may look like. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I had already found my inner child and, her name's Carinita. But being in the context, no, sorry. My damn dog is like throwing me off. um, so yeah, so anyways, after third weekend, I did an exercise where I saw my inner child again, but this time, it was in a different context, more of a darker place. And, she asked me, sorry, still gets me a little emotional. She said she missed fun and she said she missed people. And, she said that to let settle in and that, that my parents did the best they could to protect us, and that, basically the biggest realization I had was that, I was still holding resentment towards my parents. I shared I was, sexually abused as a child, and, I realized in that moment that I was still kind of holding a grudge to my parents because they couldn't protect me. Um, and that I was kind of still angry at them, but not just that, but because of that, because I felt that they didn't protect me, I felt that no one could protect me, that no one could help me, that no one could save me. So I would always, again, that's why I was always so shut down and so shut off, from the world, and why it's was difficult for me to be vulnerable and to be open, because I felt that, the more vulnerable I am, the more, possibility or chance I have of being hurt, and again, why even with Sal, why there was still kind of some, like still somewhat of a wall, or, in certain areas still had walls, because I felt like, well, if my parents couldn't protect me, like, why would you be able to, How could you keep me safe if they couldn't? And that was fucking huge, letting that go and letting, realizing that, that's my husband, that's my partner. Like, we both chose each other, and, we're facing life together, and we're facing, parenthood together one day. And, you know, um, I get to be open and vulnerable with him, and, we get to figure it out together. And that, that, yeah, that, at the end of the day, we're only humans, and there's only so much that we can do. And, sometimes we have to go through certain things to be able to grow and learn and, expand. And so that's, yeah, that's just, I think, when I was able to fully embrace, I think, what happened to me, and really realize, see it as, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be in the field that I'm in. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. And, that again, that my parents did the best that they could. I know that if they knew even now, or they knew in that moment what happened, things that have been different. Like I was telling, my therapist, I was like, oh, my dad probably would have been in prison, a long time ago. Probably would have been in prison when I was a kid. Same with my mom. Like, I know they both would have done whatever it took, to handle business and to make sure that, justice was served at that point. But again, they weren't aware, so I know that they did the best they could with what they knew as parents, and with the relationship they had with their parents, and, whatever. Like, I know that they did their best. Um, so that's what I realized, those were another things. And then again, kind of realizing how I handle situations. I realized again that I'm a runner. When I get uncomfortable, I would normally run physically, though figuratively and literally. Um, so just kind of again realizing and just moving forward, facing things, face on. Again, my relationship with Sal has improved. My mom, my sisters. Again, at that point, that's when I, injured my leg, so I stopped going to work. I got on disability, and the doctor put me out for the next like month and a half or so, almost 2 months. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at as far as home stuff, being home. But yeah, and then 4th weekend was celebration, and I just again I realized like how creative my mind is, and how I'm the one I tend to stress my own self out. So again, trust was a big thing for me, and trust was something that really just came out, something that I got to work on, and realizing again that people care and just trusting others. Um, and again, I don't want to ruin things for you guys, but it was just fun, again realizing tapping into fun and being present and being in the moment was something else that it really stood out for me. But yeah, like I said, the last um since August, pretty much up until about 2 3 weeks ago, I just realizing who I am and who I've always been, which is a powerful, confident, beautiful, caring, loving woman, and not just a woman, but that I am a leader. I realized what I want. I want to become a therapist, get my license. But I want to speak. I want to be a speaker. I want to be able to run trainings and, do, oh my God, what are they called? Um, oh my God, I cannot for the life of me remember right now. But, I want to be part of that world, and, sharing my story, sharing my life, my world, my knowledge. But yeah, do seminars. There you go. Doing seminars, trainings, all that kind of stuff. So that's something that I'm working towards right now and that I'm figuring out. I want to run a 5K. So again, yeah, it's a bit of a bump in the road, and, kind of figuring things out right now as far as, my ankle and working with the doctor. But I want to run a 5K, and, my goal of losing the weight, and it's not even so much losing the weight as it is just being healthy. It's something that I'm working towards, and it's still there. Again, improving my relationships with my mom, my sisters, Sal, my in-laws, family in general. So I'm still working on that. My friends, I'm still, setting up dates with friends, with Sal, my family, still working on that. And again, doing my videos and sharing and just being open and vulnerable. So it's all things that I'm working on, and what's next, again, going back to school, getting my master's. I want to continue volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club, which I had started. I want to continue giving back, and also kind of be volunteer and be part of LIT. And and I also want to get my own place with Sal, get our own place, start our own family.